Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post another quick video here. Kind of doing my third video response to this greatest hits thread that started a little while ago. I just really enjoyed the idea, and I had a lot more that I thought about wanting to share beyond just the first video that I did. So as I kind of mentioned in those previous two, I'm probably going to do like 4 or 5 of these because I do love greatest hits albums. So the first one I did was just kind of showing greatest hits albums that, I really grew up on listening to on CD, just kind of the CDs I played to no end and, later got them on vinyl. The second one was kind of R&B greatest hits. And this one, maybe it's called like old school or early rock. I guess that's kind of what this is. So, stuff from maybe 50s, 60s, maybe early 70s, that type of thing. So just kind of falling around that ballpark. So that's what this one's going to be. Just like the last one, I picked a couple more than 20, but, spirit of the video, it's just kind of about the greatest hits. So let's just kind of jump right into it. This is part 3. So we'll start off here with The Animals. It's the best of the Animals. This is one I think a couple people actually showed in response videos that I saw. Fantastic album. It was definitely my introduction to the Animals. Like this was the first album that brought me to them. And of course on here, House of the Rising Sun, Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood. Definitely probably the 2 biggest hits off of that. But just some of that great stuff from the 60s there. Next here, another classic duo, the Everly Brothers. I mean, again, just kind of absolute legends. All I Have to Do Is Dream, Bye Bye Love, Wake Up Little Susie. I mean, so many great hits they gave us back in the day. So another great one there. And staying some of that old school, kind of that hippie, flower power, blah, blah, blah. But the Byrds, just another legendary group right there. And this is their greatest hits. And of course, you got, in my opinion, the better version of Mr. Tambourine Man. Of course, Turn, Turn, Turn. Just a lot of great stuff there. Just another legendary band that had some incredible members that came through there. And then kind of staying old school here, going back to one that I consider to be one of the greatest entertainers of all time, Cab Calloway. Man, love Cab. Just an absolute, in my mind, just a genius, a showman, class act, just style, charisma, like everything you want in a performer on stage. Especially kind of doing it in the time that he was doing it, and a lot of the stuff that he had to deal with as just being an entertainer during that time. So yeah, Cab's my boy, love him to death. And of course you have everything on here like Minnie the Moocher, Heidi Heidi Ho Man, and just all the amazing stuff that we associate with that Zoot Suit. So love Cab. And then here, Spencer Davis Group. Again, another fantastic band, with of course, Mr. Windwood there. I'm sorry, went too far. Right there. Yeah, just another great group that just brought some amazing stuff early on. Just showed us some of the genius of Windwood early on. Favorite songs off of here. Keep on Running is definitely a great one. But like, Give Me Some of Lovin' is just kind of one of those just kind of perfect type of rock, if you want to even call it a rock song to me. Between the music and Windwood's vocal delivery on that, it just brings out the perfect energy in his vocal. So another great one there. The one and only Mr. Buddy Holly. Again, I have to say anything about that. 28 classic hits. Just all the stuff. Oh Boy. All that good stuff. The only thing that kind of don't like about this album is that it doesn't have Crying, Waiting, Hoping on here. That's which is sadly like almost one of my favorite songs by him. But pretty much everything else with Peggy Sue, Oh Boy, like all that stuff is there, but they left that one off for some reason. But still a very nice 2 LP set there. And the man, one of the godfathers of rock and roll right there, Little Richard, his greatest hits. Don't have to say anything about that. That's more than self-explanatory. And another one I kind of consider one of the godfathers of rock and roll. When I kind of put that in my head of what I think about rock and roll and what it became, I do automatically go to Chuck Berry, Elvis Presley, Little Richard, and Jerry Lee Lewis. Like, those are just the 4 to me that just, you know, you take everything you got from all four of them and it sums up all rock and roll right there. So anyway, Essential Jerry Lewis. Again, just kind of a nice 2 LP greatest hits with most of the stuff that you would want to have from Mr. Lewis. But then you have guys like this you could also easily work into that same conversation. You know, Eddie Cochran here, greatest hits. Just another absolute legend. I mean, you have Summertime Blues, Long Tall Sally, you know, Blue Suede Shoes, and of course he did a version of Hallelujah, I Love Her So by Ray Charles. And so, yeah, I mean, another one that you could easily put in that conversation. Great album there. And one actually spin a good chunk, or at least I did in the past. Maybe not in the past year or so as much, but I've listened to this album a lot over the years. But The Wanderer, Dion and the Belmonts. Here you have kind of 18 original hits, and it's like A Teenager in Love, Run Around Sue, The Wanderer, Every Little Thing. I mean, just a lot of really those kind of songs you hear and just so takes you right back to the time. So again, another really good album there. Best of excuse me, I can never get that out of my mouth right. Harem here. This is best of from 1969. I think this album came out, and you know, again, another band you guys know very, very well. I mean, obviously the biggest hit off of this is probably A Whiter Shade of Pale, but another fantastic, legendary band. That's a good greatest hits. And The Mama and the Papas, of course. Again, you know, California Dreamin', Dancing in the Streets, you know, dedicated to the one I love, Monday, Monday. Just more of that classic kind of, you know, flower power stuff from the 70s. And kind of going on the easy listening side, Mr. Wayne Newton. I freaking love Wayne Newton. I absolutely love him to death. And now that I think about it, Bobby Darin, that's kind of my two going to that, I guess, more easy listening, whatever you want to call it. And I forgot to grab that Bobby, but definitely goes on the list. But yeah, I absolutely love Wayne Newton. Again, he was a star that young for a reason. There was just a flair that he had, and he's one of those guys kind of right there with Lou Rawls that whenever I hear him, the first thing I think is just Vegas show. Like that's the first thing that comes to mind. That's the feel that I get from listening to both of those artists. So, you know, of course, on here you have Donka Shane, which is just a fantastic track. So that's Mr. Newton. And Miss Class herself, Dion Warwick. Yeah, love Dion. I mean, just talk about a woman that just had, again, pure class and style from day one throughout her entire career. So much respect for this woman, it's not even funny. But, yeah, nice greatest hits here from 1979 to 1990. You know, here you got That's What Friends Are For, Heartbreaker. You know, again, just a lot of her great stuff. Anyone who knows Dion kind of knows how fantastic an artist she is. And one that I got just like a couple of years ago, Elvis Presley Gold. This is volume 5. And I say I just got it because up to maybe 3 years ago, I didn't own a single Elvis Presley album. Like I got to take it back. One I got as a VCLT, and I don't get rid of any VCLT. But yeah, just never really was a huge fan. And was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago? We went to Memphis and decided to do the Graceland thing. Like, we're here, go ahead and check it out. I mean, it's cool. Let's go see Elvis's home. And all of a sudden, I walked out of there and I was like, I get it. Like it just all of a sudden it all clicked. And I remember one of the moments that stands out the most is walking out of the jungle room, getting ready to go back through the carport back where the offices were, and there were, you know, some speakers out there, and there's like playing music and everything. And then we went down to his racquetball court or whatever, and the song Suspicious Minds was playing. And it was just like something with being there and hearing that song and Elvis's voice in there, and like it just all of a sudden made total sense. And I was like, I became an Elvis fan, and from not liking him to 2 hours. And Suspicious Minds really was the song that did it. I mean, it's just just one of those moments, hit me the right way at the right time. So I went and picked out that greatest hits, which of course has Suspicious Minds on it. And that same trip, I actually went there to see Chris Stapleton in concert. And so while we were there, we went to Graceland, and then we were walking back from the Chris Stapleton concert, and we saw a marquee on the side of a building that said, like, tomorrow night, Frankie Valli. And we were like, holy cow, tickets were like 30 something dollars. Like, let's go see Frankie Valli. And I got a chance to see him live, which was awesome. But I've always loved Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. So, that was just kind of a nice, unexpected treat. But, yeah, Sherry, Big Girls Don't Cry, Walk Like a Man, Ragdoll, December, of course, 1963, Can't Take My Eyes Off of You, Working My Way Back to You. I mean, just hit after hit after hit after hit by Frankie and the Four Seasons. So, another greatest hits there. Dell Shannon, Runaway, another one of those just old school kind of early rock hits. Two Kinds of Teardrops. Of course, the title track Runaway. Just another one of those albums that say when you listen to it, it really, really just takes you back to the time. So good stuff there. Phil Spector's greatest hits. Phil was kind of a magical producer, writer, all that good stuff. So everything from, River Deep Mountain High with Ike and Tina, He Kissed Me, Be My Baby. What else is pretty much everything on here. You Lost That Love and Feeling. All sang by the original artist. Unchanged Melody. So just kind of shows some of the greatness that Phil left with us there. So that was a good one. Another one I'm sure you guys are all familiar with, Retrospect, the best of Buffalo Springfield. Another greatest hits there with, For What It's Worth, all that good stuff. The thing that always floors me about this is just kind of thinking back to the fact that, Neil Young was, back during this time with Buffalo Springfield, and it's a guy that's still, playing on new albums coming out today. I think to this day he has, 48 studio albums or something. It's just... He's one of those legends that I think sometimes we kind of forget about or take for granted a little bit, because he has been around a long time. The Turtles, another one here. Greatest hits, another classic one you guys know about. It Ain't Me, Babe. Happy Together, of course, was a gigantic hit for them. But another greatest hits there. And they have 5 more here. Best of the Band. Again, everyone knows the band, so I don't have to say much about that one. This is one I do spin quite frequently. This is just an absolute beautiful album. The Marshall Tucker Band. Again, I think everyone knows it. You can see a lot of their stuff sometimes in the dollar bins and things like that. But there is some awesome, beautiful songwriting on this album. Just this perfect mixture of kind of a passionate rock with a southern rock feel, covered in a country rhythm delivery. It's just fantastic songs. Great vocal delivery on stuff like, Can't You See? I listen to that song, man. It's one of those ones you just want to close your eyes and just man, that song is just in a good place. Of course, Heard It in the Love Song, Ramblin', Fire on the Mountain. That is a great album. A great album you can go somewhere and find for, $5 or $6 easily. So highly recommend that one. Dr. Hook, greatest hits. Again, another one here with, stuff probably be the biggest thing. Probably my favorite song off of this is Sharing the Night Together. It's probably my favorite song by Dr. Hook off of this particular album. But again, another legend that I'm sure you guys know. And the last two, Walk on the Wild Side, Best of Lou Reed. It's kind of getting into the, late 70s when this came out. But you had everything on here from, Wild Child to Walk on the Wild Side, of course. Sweet Jane's on here, White Light, White Heat. So kind of some Velvet Underground stuff there. So really, really great album there as well. And last but not least, kind of playing off the David Spencer group there earlier, Little Windwood, another kind of really nice greatest hits. And this kind of, this came out in 1972, so obviously there's no 80s Windwood because it didn't have any taken place yet. So the fact that this came out in '82, this is just kind of greatest hit stuff that Windwood had done up to that point in time. So it's kind of a nice old school piece, and there is some you know, well, I mean, I'll just leave it at that. I mean, actually, I'll just do it like this. For those that maybe haven't seen this before, you can just kind of take a look at the track list right there. So really, really cool album. Searched for this one for so long. Not an expensive album at all. It's one you could typically find for, $10 or something like that. But it just seems like almost everyone I found out there always had a huge corner cut. Just like completely chopped off on that corner. And you could find them near mint. I would find them sealed, everything else, and that freaking corner was always cut. No exaggeration about it. I bet I stumbled across at least 9 to 10 copies of this where every single one had a corner cut before I found this one. So very inexpensive album, but a great one to also have. So anyway, there you go. Another greatest hits response or whatever. Kind of, we'll title this one old school. Like I said, I'm having a blast kind of pulling these out and just kind of going through it. So I will be back soon with part 4, I'm sure, and I'll figure out a topic for that one. So thanks for watching, VC. Have a good weekend, guys, and we will talk to you soon.